So here we are with part 2 of Up, It's AI, the Caples Awards webinar starring 3 of the 2023 jurors. As always, songs of praise to BBDO and to WPP for sponsoring us, and to 42courses.com for their support. For your illumination and education in this video, we have Matt Batten, the newly installed Creative Director of 5x5 Australia. More importantly, he's an early adopter of GenAI and has been using it. And today he's going to share some of what he's learned. Matt.
Yeah, as Patrick says, we have a shoggoth that's been unleashed on the world. As Lars says, it's very much a tool that's left up to how we use it. I want to look at this from the perspective of cause and effect, or in this case, effects. I have 8 effects that I've identified as a result of this cause. I am pro AI, certainly generative AI, but cautiously pro generative AI. So my experience through AI has come from more to do with the image generation. One of my big focuses at the moment is in writing. Yes, writing novels, writing short stories. And what I found is it's really helpful for visualizing the characters to bring them to life so I can add more texture to what's happening throughout the stories. So my debut novel, which I'm hoping to get published sometime soon, is a sci-fi fantasy. He's one of the characters. My next one is a standalone science fiction, which is also a screenplay. I have another series in mind, which is kind of more steampunk kind of mixed genre. So developing the characters in the world there. But I've also looked at how do we start turning them into actual moving image. And this is what is so exciting around it, is it allows me to actually go, these are the characters, I can explore, I can type in how I've described them in a story and get multiple options of vision and choose the one that I think is exactly what I really want, because AI is quite random, but get the one that I really want and then play with that even further. At the end of the day, the big cause that's happened, as Lars says, the world-changing effect is that AI image generators and the text generators are trained, and I want to focus on image, were trained by scraping billions of online images, unfortunately including works by owners who never gave the consent. And this is the heart of what a lot of the discussion is around of people who are anti-AI. One of the deeper issues is the fact that AI has been taught by looking at all of the information that's already available online. And that's probably where the problem started, is we built this thing called the internet. It has the good, it has the bad, but we also put all of our lives on it, all of our own IP on the internet, without knowing that someday something would come along and use those to learn, but also use those to fabricate. So effect 1 is the change in concept of authorship and authenticity. And there's quite a lot of court cases in the US happening at the moment of who owns the original image and who owns the created image that is inspired or completely ripped off from the original image. So an artist called Sam Young, he's an anime artist. He does a lot of his stuff around this character called Kara. He got an email from somebody who can only assume worked for one of the AI image generators. Do you want to judge a competition to see which AI image generator can replicate your artwork the best? A little bit concerned, but he went and checked it out. These are the sorts of things that were coming up. So he operates under the name Sam Does Art, and this is what Midjourney or Stable Diffusion was creating as a replicant of Sam Does Art. So they're actually putting in the prompt of Sam Does Art, which is his handle, his business name. So it was obviously replicating. Now the challenge here, of course, is that it hasn't ripped off his images. It's an anime style. It's a global style. There's thousands of artists who do this style. So Sam wasn't saying you've ripped off my style, but the simple fact you're typing my name in to try and replicate my personal take on anime is where we have a copyright issue. At the result, at the end of it, Sam Young said AI art seemed like something far down the line, and then it wasn't. And I think that's what we've all seen. This thing has exploded so quickly. However, it's actually been building up for about 5 or 6 years behind the scenes. The coders who have been developing Stable Diffusion in particular have been working on this for quite some time. It's only now that it's in the public domain that we feel like it's launched and it's happening and there's no stopping it. One of the things when I talk about those court cases, so AI is trained by scraping these billions of online images. One of the issues with the US court cases is that copyright law in the US protects the image but not the style. So you can't copyright a genre or a style of art or design. So in Sang Yang's case, he would not have been able to go to court because they'd say, no, it's not copied your exact images, it's copied the style, and you can't protect that. Another example is Greg Rutkowski, who is a fantasy painter. These are all hand-painted oil paintings that he does. He sells them for around 20 to 30 to 40,000 US dollars each. So he makes a really good living out of these artwork. His name has been used in Stable Diffusion 90,000 times as a prompt. Now, to put it in context, the names Michelangelo, Picasso, and Da Vinci have only been used 2,000 times. People are using Stable Diffusion to replicate his style to create artworks for themselves. It's using a tool to get the tool to create the artwork, but the tool is also learning from somebody else who's spent years developing their own look and feel. It's just fascinating that people are actually going, I love what Rutkowski does. I'm going to use his name as a prompt to try and get what he does. Rutkowski said, it's been just 1 month. What about in a year? I probably won't even find my work out there, and that's concerning. So he knows that the future is coming where you could type in fantasy artwork, dragon over castle, Greg Rutkowski style, and it will give you back something that is would probably even fool art authenticators if you can print it out and replicate the painting style. There was an interesting thing that Shutterstock have got their own AI image generator. What they've done quite interesting is they've done a partnership with OpenAI, one of the great brands who have created this, to create theirs, what they call an ethical image generator. If you type in Greg Rutkowski style, for example, and you buy the image that it gives you, some of that money goes back to Greg Rutkowski. So they've actually created it so that it actually will compensate the artists whose work is being inspiration for the images that it's generating. The second effect is ethics and responsibility currently are self-policed. And as Lars was saying about the internet, same problem. We created this amazing thing. We created global communication, connectivity, and information, access for all, but it was self-policed. And as much as there's great stuff in the internet, there's also some very dark places in the internet. There's some horrible things that get shared on the internet. There's misinformation, all the everything. So it's very much up to those who use it to use it correctly. An example here, Funko Pop, they produce these little characters. They've paid so much money to obviously Marvel and Disney to have the rights to access Marvel characters. And yet here's a brand called Funky Pop, even ripping off the brand name, which allows you to buy a package of prompts. They're just selling the prompts, not the artwork. They sell the prompts that you can then create your version of a Funko Pop toy. Now, sure, it's not actually a toy, it's just an image, but they're clearly ripping off a brand that's already in place. Now, Funko Pop should just sue Funky Pop straight out. Marvel should sue them, Disney should sue them, and that's how you get control back of the ownership. There's another one called Sarah Scribbles. It's an artist who does these quirky little cartoons, little slices of life, and she was quite shocked when she saw, the pro-Trump campaign completely rip off one of hers, and she said, I'm an artist, I don't have the money to go and sue them. And it's just the beginning. You can easily imagine how in just a year or two's time, you can type in Sarah Scribbles and it will create a comic strip panel that you can put your own type in. And Sarah's entire thing is gone because now it can be replicated. It's an unethical use. Create your own comic strip. Use AI to create characters using your own prompts. Don't say in the style of Sarah Scribbles. So Sarah said, to others it may look like a drawing taking shape, but I see a monster. So she's clearly somebody who's quite worried. Effect 3, quite a nasty one, the standardization, homogenization, and perpetuation of biases. As we said, AI has scraped billions of images. Those images were put there by humankind. We are dark, we are disturbed, we are racist, we are horrible human beings, and we've filled the internet with that stuff. So of course AI is going to copy back what we've given it. Buzzfeed recently did something. They got on the Barbie bandwagon where they typed into AI, what would the Barbie look like for each of these countries? And it caused such a stir that their article was taken down off Buzzfeed within 24 hours. Thankfully, people screen grab shit, so here it is. Clear things like Afghanistan, India, Pakistan, perpetuating stereotypes and cultural misrepresentation. Even the fact that a lot of Pakistanis are saying that's actually not even Pakistani dress. So it's very much a white person's view of it. They got into more hot water when they did things like Vietnam. People pointed out that this is not the traditional Vietnamese clothing called an aldoi or aldai, that the collar is actually apparently reversed, which symbolizes death. With Germany, it looks like an SS Nazi uniform on Barbie. With Qatar, they actually put Barbie in what's called an agal and smile, which is worn only by men. And even worse, South Sudan. They get a return to Barbie, who's carrying a Kalashnikov. This is ridiculous. I even did my own little test of typing in the exact same prompt to change the word male to female. Male robot, full torso, that was it. And this is what it came up with. Very Terminator-like, very heavy and grungy and metal. You type in female robot, it has breasts and a thin waist and an almost sexy pout and so forth. It's sexualizing a robot. This is clearly what we've fed it. One of the researchers at Google, Zubango Ramani, he's basically one of the two ACs at Google. He said there are uncomfortable things that responsible AI will inevitably bring up. We need to be comfortable with that discomfort. He was talking about essentially, we've trained this machine using our own inequities. We need to understand that it's not AI being racist or stereotyping, it's us. We created that. Deborah Raji, a computer scientist, she found that a lot of AI images were generating white people and not people of color. And she obviously has done a lot of research on this. And she says the problem is the data we use to train these systems matters. We can't just blindly pick our sources. And that's what's happened in the original data scrapes. And it may improve over time. It should improve over time with new data scrapes. But the original data scrapes are incredibly biased and racist. The fourth effect, one of the big ones, obviously, everyone feels about, is substitution of human creators. This one, yes, it's happening. It's going to happen further. For me, though, it's not a new thing. In 2013, The Economist put together a list of occupations that had a probability of being affected by computerization, just computerization, pre-AI. And you can see there's a huge list there: recreational therapists, dentists, and so forth. Interestingly, nothing in there about creativity or artists or entertainment or media on that list. Certainty of one for telemarketers and accountants and auditors and retail salespeople, computerization impacting their jobs and the number of jobs. Fast forward 10 years, Goldman Sachs have done this one, a share of industry employment exposed to automation by AI. And you can see it's office administration, legal, architecture. So there's a lot of other industries will be affected by it. We are down here, arts, entertainment, sports, and media at 26% probability. So the chances of it affecting your job, yes. How deeply it affects your job probably doesn't put you out of employment. As Lars says, it's a tool. We need to learn it. We need to move on. Paul Delaroche, 19th century artist, when he first saw the daguerreotype photograph in 1840, he said, from today, painting is dead. Now, 160, 180 years later, painting is not dead. It's changed. It's changed every decade since then. Effect number 5, getting to the positive ones, acceleration of the creative process. And this is one of the reasons why I use it. It's the main reason why I use it, if anything. It does accelerate this creative process. All these images you're seeing on screen for these title slides are my creations that I've done. This is a character I've created for my novel. Yes, it might look racist, but it turns out he's not actually Asian. That's the whole thing about his character. He's actually pretending to be somebody who's not. And so I asked AI to also create that The generative AI landscape is huge. These are the ones that are available now, and as it says on the top, it's a work in progress. There are new ones hitting the market probably every month. Obviously, you can see Midjourney on the middle left. So many of them. There are ones for just doing text. There are ones for doing documentation. There are ones for doing coding. There are ones for doing speech synthesis, 3D modeling. And this is just in a generative AI sense. There are so many more platforms in HR, in finance, in tech sector, even in automotive. So it's not just our industry and creative industries, it's all industries will be affected in some way. You've probably all seen this one, next one doing the rounds from Nicholas Neubert. Interestingly, Nicholas is actually a product developer for Volkswagen, and he was playing around with this. He claims it took 7 hours at a total cost of $125 over 7 hours. Now, I'm not saying that that's not right, not correct, but I would say he must be very good to be able to get this quality at that speed. Now, it does say coming soon. It does have a logo of the Eden Films. It's not a film. It's not coming soon. He was showing that you can do a really good trailer to inspire something, or even an animatic, if you will. I have no doubt somebody has probably already gone to him saying, we want to write the script, we want to make this into a film. When it went gangbusters, Nicholas said, with technology that allows everyone to generate high quality content, the magic will happen through those who know how to stitch the pieces together. And I think that's where it's at. It's the technology exists. It's up to us to go, I can see how I can use with this from this technology and plug it into this one to do this with it and keep working with it and bouncing it from tool to tool to see where you get. The next effect is the increased accessibility in art creation. Really, there's two parts to this. The first part is it allows anybody to go in and access things they couldn't have accessed before. It also means accessibility in terms of people with disability. I've got two versions to show you. This first one is, it's kind of being billed as the first music video clip using all AI. What's cool about it is it's showing that all those bands out there now who are running around in college libraries or the back streets of some seedy area of the city to try and film their own music video for $35 can now sit down and create something incredible without getting out of their chair.
I don't care if it takes all year to get those seeds to grow in my garden. I don't care if my hands are tied, if that's what it takes to receive your pardon.
The other side of accessibility is how it allows people to access the tools to explore creativity when they couldn't have because of a disability. In this case, Sean Arberg, his platform is called Vomit Riot or something like that, I think, or Vomit Party. He did all these artwork for many years. Has comic books, was making lots of money out of it. Then in 2016, he suffered a massive stroke that affected the entire left side of his body. He's left-handed. So he was unable to draw and illustrate ever again. Then he discovered Midjourney, and this is his new art style. He's now exploring what he's capable of doing through Midjourney, through prompting, to create imagery again. And I think this is absolutely incredible. In fact, this is Sean Arberg, and he said, I haven't drawn the way I want in 4 years. This loss cannot be understood. It has to be lived. So accessibility, I think, is an amazing thing from it. Slightly lesser effect is a revival of classic art styles. That it's allowed people to start going, I'm going to start dabbling in what would be an old master, what would be Impressionism, Cubism. The AI has been trained using these images, so it understands the styles, and it's allowing people to explore them again. I think this is an amazing thing to actually have people start delving into what are the capabilities. I toyed around with what would DC characters look like if they were done by Fritz Lang. But Fritz Lang, obviously Metropolis, very much in the Art Deco space at the turn of the 20th century. Superman, The Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Just seeing what it can come up with, and it's I'm not somebody who's necessarily into Art Deco. I've always loved the film Metropolis. It's a staple, but it's interesting to see what you can do and explore and open your mind creatively. The quote on this section is from ChatGPT itself. I asked ChatGPT to provide me with a quote on what the benefits are. It said, AI pioneers inclusive solutions, revolutionizing access through adaptive interfaces, real-time aid, and empowering opportunities for all. Now, it's a very self-indulgent AI. Of course it's going to say that kind of shit. That's what it does. But we've told it to be self-indulgent. We've taught it to talk like that. The last effect is that things will change. It's as simple as that. Every world-changing invention is a double-edged sword. Even the double-edged sword is a double-edged sword for a reason. And that doesn't just mean good. The very fact of the matter is a double-edged sword was invented because it can cut both ways. It can be used for thrusts and for cutting and where you point out. However, it can't be curved, so it takes more strength to use it. It has a downside, right? The Gutenberg press gave us the written word to the masses, but it also developed propaganda and fake news and everything. Plastic, there's good and bad. The internet, global access to information, but also dark web activity and all the nasty evilness of humanity there for everybody to share secretly. Every world-changing invention can be used for good and can be used for evil. It's up to us of how we use it. The problem we have here is the genie is out of the bottle and it's not going to go back in. I've been playing around with a lot of creating the imagery for my stories, for my screenplays, for my novels, and I've built a trailer for my short story collection. So for me, it's not just a tool to imagine what my characters and stories could look like. It's a tool to also help market them. So before I go, I would say check out my stuff on my website. Follow me on Instagram. Here's some shameless self-promotion, but a lot of what I do on Instagram is also using my AI. Now, I did talk about one story that I do. This is the problem, is that computers don't do what you want, only what you tell them. We're the gods who created man in our own image, who created AI in our own image, and it's a very flawed image. The US military, obviously, are chasing into the AI dream as well. They programmed a drone. It was only a test drone, a total simulated drone, and programmed to use AI to find enemy bases and destroy them. And when it found them, it had to ask the operator for a kill command before it could blow them up. It would score points for every base it destroyed. And it was very good at finding them. It was very good at asking for permission to kill them. But the operator, every now and then, would say no. And the AI realized the operator was stopping it from achieving its maximum score. So the AI drone then turned around and blew up the control tower where the operator was based to kill the operator, to say, you got to stop me, then you're obviously a threat at achieving my mission. The military went, whoa, what the fuck? Let's change that. So they gave a new command saying, you cannot blow up the operator. Go again. This time it blew up the control tower so the operator couldn't talk to it and stop it from blowing up its bases. Computers don't do what you want. They only do what you tell them. And the AI will only ever be as good as we are as human beings.